Hello guys, welcome back to our kitchen. Enjoy the recipes. Hey everybody, welcome to another recipe from our kitchen. Today we're going to be making spaghetti and meatballs. Right here I have all the ingredients. We got a pound of ground chuck, a half a cup of diced onions, 3/4 cup breadcrumbs, and you can use any kind that you like. There's a half a cup of Parmesan cheese, but I like to mix the cheese so it's got a little bit of Italian other cheeses in there as well. We got 2 eggs, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, a half a teaspoon of oregano, a tablespoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of milk. And it's not rocket science, and it doesn't have to be dead on exact. So if you like a little more oregano, put a little more oregano in there. But what we do with these ingredients is we take them and we'll mix them all together in a bowl. Once it's all mixed up, you just want to take a little bit and then slowly roll it into a ball. You want them to be about golf ball size. Say something about like that. And you just set it aside. You'll probably get, I don't know, a dozen or more, and just keep them golf ball size. And I'm going to go ahead and roll these all out. Here's pretty much what the rolled out meatballs should look like. I got about 15. You might get a little more, a little less, depending upon the size that you roll them. I try to keep them all symmetrical and round, but it doesn't always work that way. But that's the beauty of homemade. What we do at this point now is we'll put them in the IP to brown, and then we cook for 20 minutes in the Instant Pot. I'm going to be using the Instant Pot. It's an awesome kitchen utensil. I've grown to really love working with it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it on the saute button, and it's going to get warm. But I'm also going to drop in a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil, and I like using olive oil as opposed to vegetable oil. I'll put in 2 tablespoons and let it come up to temperature. As you can see, it says hot. That means it's ready to receive the meatballs. And what we're going to do is we're just going to brown them. And we're only going to do a few at a time because you don't want to crowd the meatballs. So I'll drop in maybe 3 or 4. There, we'll do 5. And if some of the meatball sticks to the bottom of the pan, it's all good because that's going to be a part of your drippings that'll blend in with your sauce, and it'll be add to the flavor, and it'll be incredible. I like to rotate them because we just browning them, and that's why we only do a few at a time. Don't want to crowd them. If you keep them moving, they'll brown up real nice. Don't let them sit too long in any one spot. You don't have to actually brown them if you don't want to. You can just go ahead and cook them if you want, but I like to brown them because I think that looks more appealing if they're browned. And as you can see, they're starting to brown up really nice. Getting some good color to them. All right, let me take some of these out. I just fish them out of there. Put them right back on the same board. Again, they're definitely not cooked, but they are browned. Let's drop a few more in. See that brown bits in there? Those are brown bits of goodness. We'll scrape them up when we deglaze the pan, and it'll add tons of flavor to the dish. Take a look at that brown. That is some good stuff right there. And here they are, all browned up. Nice and brown up, ready to go. Next step will be to toss them in the Instant Pot and let them cook. I'm going to get these little bits of goodness up by deglazing the pot, and you can deglaze it with a lot of different things. I like to deglaze it with a little bit of wine, red wine, just a little bit. Won't hurt you. All the alcohol will get burned off anyway, but it helps to deglaze the pot. And then we go in and we try to scrape off as much of the goodness as you can. Now what I do with this, as with most of my Instant Pot meals, you got to have at least a cup of water in there. And so I always put a cup of water in there. And that'll help the Instant Pot to generate steam and to cook better. And for those of you that use the Instant Pot, you already know that, I'm sure. Probably know other tricks that I don't know. What I like to do, and we don't at this time have our own sauce recipe, so we've always used ragu or any other spaghetti sauce that's available out there. This one here I happen to catch on sale, I like it, so I'm going to use that. What I do after I deglaze the pot and add my cup of water is I put just a little bit of the tomato sauce in there. And that, I think, helps give it a little bit of nice flavor to infuse while it's cooking. And I'm going to take my trivet, if that's saying it right, but it's this thing. Comes with the Instant Pot. I'm going to put it on there, and I'm going to load my meatballs right on top of the trivet. And that way, they don't sit in the juice, and they can cook better. And it's okay to go ahead and stack one on top of the other if you need to. And there you can see they're all in there. And now I simply put the Instant Pot lid on. Make sure the vent is closed. I'm going to set it on meat for, well, a lot of the recipes call for 10 minutes, but I'm always like to make sure and go for 15 minutes. The internal temperature of the done meatball should be about 160 to 165, and I always check them before I serve them. So now we just sit back and wait. Okay, the Instant Pot just went 15 minutes, so I let it do a natural pressure release. So it's going to take a good 15 minutes still for the pressure to come out of the IP, and then we'll check back in about 15 minutes. The pressure release dropped, you can tell by the red button that dropped down. So we are now ready to take the lid off and take a look. A lot of steam going to come out. That's the done meatballs. I always like to double check to make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and check it with the thermometer. We'll just go ahead and test one. We want it to get, I don't know if you can see that reading, but we want it to get up to about 160. All right, here we go. Let's redo that one.
No!
So as you can see, they're well beyond done. And what I'm going to do now is just take them out. And hopefully I'll be able to just lift everybody out with the trivet. There we go. Now what I'm going to do here is go back to saute. I'm going to add the tomato sauce, the spaghetti sauce, right into this. Now this here, it'll make it kind of thin. So we're going to go ahead and I'll let it boil out some of the water, but all the goodness will be captured. And at the same time, I'm going to turn my water on for the noodles and just make the noodles the way the box tells you. I add a pinch of salt so that the noodles don't stick together. After the sauce thickens up, you can go ahead and drop the meatballs back in there. And I usually just try to gently drop them all in. Like so. And that pretty much is your meatballs and sauce. Now we just wait for the noodles to be done and then enjoy. Now I'm just going to boil half of the box because it's just 3 of us right now. And all I do is just take it out, drop it into the boiling water that I put salt to, and boil it according to the instructions. 12 minutes and it should be done. Meanwhile, the sauce and the meatballs looks great. After the noodles come to their finished boiled, just take them off, take them over to the sink, and it'll be hot, so be careful. And then just drain them. And I like to shake off as much water as I can because it'll water down the sauce if you don't. Just like so. The finished product. Enjoy.